Formula One season just ended with a three-way battle for the World Championship in Abu Dhabi. And Lando Norris is a world champion, and it literally came down to nothing. But before we get into it, if you love Formula One, don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel to stay up to date. Going into Abu Dhabi, we had three drivers all fighting for the championship. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, and Oscar Piastri. And I knew this race was going to be close, but I didn't realize how close. I mean, look at Q2 in qualifying. We had 15 drivers all finish within 0.4 seconds of the fastest lap time. I mean, think about how insane that is. That's 15 different drivers, 15 different cars, over 3 miles, and all finishing within 0.4 seconds. It's a testament to every F1 driver pushing themselves and the car to the limit. And while this is amazing, we really don't see this in sports. By the end of qualifying, Max took P1, Lando took P2, and Oscar Piastri took P3. And honestly, when Max Verstappen took pole position, it was kind of like an obvious that he was going to win the race. Abu Dhabi in the championship was more so could Lando Norris finish within the top 3. Because while Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris were as cool as a cucumber, we all knew that a McLaren strategy would pop up and ruin it for one or both of them, or they just didn't have the outright pace to go that many laps against Max Verstappen and his Red Bull. And for a while in the race, it looked great for Lando. I mean, at the start, Oscar passed him and took P2 and dropped Lando to P3, but Charles wasn't really doing anything, and Lando kind of seemed like he was in cruise control. Almost like it was going to be a boring race. But all that changed once Lando Norris and McLaren decided to pit. And the issue wasn't even Lando pitting. The issue was that Lando came out of the pits and was stuck behind a DRS train. It almost seemed like a nightmare in a championship battle. And I didn't think Lando Norris was going to pass that DRS train as fast as he did, but boy did he prove us wrong. He ended up passing 2 cars just on one turn alone, almost like it was nothing, and then Lando just went back on cruise control until he ran into Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen's teammate. And listen, that whole moment had me dying because Red Bull decided to get on Yuki's radio and say, hey, Lando Norris is behind you. Can you help Max out in this championship race? You know, slow down Lando and maybe not let him pass, but leave it up to Yuki Tsunoda to come back on the radio and say, I know exactly what I need to do. Almost like he was pretending to be like Liam Neeson in one of the Taken movies just to get passed up instantly. And the incident with Yuki and Lando was rather interesting. Yuki was swerving left and right, and I understand that he was trying to break the toe, so it would slow down Lando and give him a little bit more dirty air and harder to pass. But driving at 200 miles per hour, swerving in and out, and almost driving like I do in Mario Kart. The only difference was in Mario Kart, I would throw out a banana and he didn't seem to have one. And if he did, I feel like he would have thrown it. But ultimately, Lando Norris ended up passing Yuki Tsunoda, which was super controversial because Lando Norris did end up passing him off track and never gave the position back. But to be honest, I'm kind of on the side of other F1 fans where Yuki Tsunoda was driving erratically. And what is Lando Norris supposed to do? Just sit behind this crazy driver swerving left and right, letting Max win the championship? I don't think so. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen was just chilling in the front with like a 25-second gap to Oscar Piastri, and Oscar was in second, and Lando was in third, and Charles Leclerc was in fourth, trying to hunt down Lando Norris to get that P3 position, but he didn't quite have the pace, which, to be honest, I was surprised Ferrari had any pace that weekend. And at one point, towards the very end of the race, we have Max Verstappen on the team radio asking GP, is Charles Leclerc going to pass Lando? Apparently, Max Verstappen was watching the TV screen on the straight, trying to get updates, and Red Bull came back to Max and said that Charles was not making any leeway on Lando Norris, which left Max with 2 options. The first option was obviously to stay in P1, keep on driving like he currently is, and just hope for the best, maybe a DNF or disqualification or something. The second option was to slow down, to let Oscar Piastri catch up to him and almost create a DRS train, ultimately backing Oscar and Lando up in hopes that Charles Leclerc can make a move on both of them, causing Lando Norris to lose that P3 position, which we all saw that Max Verstappen chose. The first option was to just finish the race, and like he said, he really didn't have an option on the second one because they waited too late. What happened was Oscar Piastri pitted with brand new tires. And so Max Verstappen, after the race, said that wasn't really an option because if I tried to back up the pack, Oscar Piastri with his fresh new tires would just blow right by me and I'd lose my position, so it wasn't an option. In the end, Lando Norris finished the race at P3 and was a world champion after that. Now with Max Verstappen only losing by 2 points, a lot of people were starting to put a lot of blame of why Max Verstappen didn't win the championship. Some fans might say that McLaren just didn't make any mistakes and the team made the right strategy calls. McLaren didn't give him any free disqualifications. Other reporters, and we saw in post interviews, that they blamed it on Max Verstappen in Barcelona with George Russell. How Red Bull had asked Max Verstappen to let George pass and he told him no and ultimately crashed into George Russell, and allegedly he had done it on purpose, ultimately leading to a 10-second penalty, which wasn't the one mistake either. But obviously this is all talking and chatter, all hindsight. I don't think Max Verstappen or even anybody of us expected McLaren to have such bad team orders, disqualifications that almost costed them the championship. I still don't know how Max Verstappen got within 2 points of winning the championship. So Formula One world champion Lando Norris, obviously ecstatic. He drove amazing and he held it down at the end of the season. Max Verstappen, I know he is and he should be proud for an amazing season. This guy almost won another world champion while everyone was at the beach and enjoying themselves. During the break, this guy jumped in a Ferrari and won another tournament in another racing league. I've started to think this guy is a robot. But Oscar Piastri, he drove phenomenal this year. But if I'm him, I'm asking a bunch of questions. Because obviously Lando Norris is the world champion. I'm not taking that away from him. He is the world champion, and he was a better driver than Oscar Piastri. But the real question is, I'm asking McLaren and other people, what went wrong? I was the championship leader, and by the end of the season, I end up in P3 in the Drivers' Championship. If anything, he should have been in P2, but we all know those team orders, and he should have pitted during lap 7 with the rest of the drivers. Shouldn't have been disqualified with the plank issues. So many questions for Oscar. But at the same time, he needs to hold his head up because he was amazing. He was so fun to watch. He's definitely considered a top driver on the grid right now. With all that said, Lando Norris is Formula One's 2025 world champion. Congratulations to Lando Norris. And this season taught us one thing, that every point matters. And sometimes you gotta go against team orders. Maybe we'll see more of that in 2026. But if you love Formula One content, don't forget to like and subscribe on this channel to keep up to date. And like I always say, today is a great day to be a Formula One fan.